Joining us now live, Second Lady Karen Pence with us. And Mrs. Pence is going to be traveling. She's traveling today to Norfolk to recognize military spouses and their families. And she is going to be, the Second Lady today is going to be delivering remarks to military spouses at Naval Station Norfolk at 10:30. And she is with us now. Second Lady Mrs. Pence, great to have you with us.
Thank you, John. It's great to be with you. I'm looking forward to traveling to Norfolk today.
It's always great to be in Norfolk. Last time, Mrs. Pence, we saw each other, I introduced you and your husband at a rally, I think, in, I don't remember, it was in Norfolk. Oh, I think it was in Northern Virginia the Saturday night. That's right. I introduced you the Saturday night before the election at George Mason University. That's right. I
remember that rally well. We had a lot of friends out that night. That was a lot of fun.
I know. Well, it was a lot of fun, and it's always an honor to mine to have the opportunity to MC those rallies where I can make the introduction. That's my claim to fame, is I introduced the vice president and the second lady multiple times. So that's my claim to fame. Tell me about your visit today, Second Lady Pence, to the Naval Station.
Well, we're really excited because we're actually going to be speaking to spouses of deployed service members. And what we did was, a couple months ago, we got together with congressional spouses and USO, and we packed 500 little bags, little care packages for these spouses, and we're going to deliver them today. So we're really excited to do that and see all of these spouses because, you know, John, these spouses are the backbone of our military. They really, really are. I mean, they are the home front heroes. They are the ones who keep things going at home, and it's not an easy thing to be a military spouse, and we just want to come alongside them today and tell them we think they're great.
Mrs. Pence, when you talk to military spouses and you ask them their concerns or what's on their mind, what is a common theme that you hear?
Well, you know, what we did was about a year and a half ago, we decided we wanted to come alongside military spouses. And so we went all over the country and even visited spouses overseas and had listening sessions and asked them, what can we do? If there were one thing we could help you with, what would it be? And the thing that surfaced the most was employment. And they have a lot of issues with employment because, as you know, they move frequently. They try and get a job in their career field, and they have a lot of struggles. But the good news is we have a lot of things that are in their favor right now. LinkedIn has teamed up with the Department of Defense, and so they give them a free one-year upgrade to LinkedIn Premium. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Hiring Our Heroes, launched a 3-year program to hire 100,000 military spouses. The 2018 National Defense Authorization Act decided that they would reimburse them for recertification costs. Because sometimes what happens to these spouses is when they move, they don't have a license in the state that they move to. So if they have a job that requires a license, frequently they have to go through more training, they have to pay another fee, they have to wait until they actually move to apply, and it means that sometimes it takes them up to a year to get recertified in the new place that they move to. So states are coming alongside. Governor Ducey in Arizona just signed a law that they accept licenses from all other states. So we're seeing some of the governors come alongside, and what we just want to do is do whatever we can to make it easier for spouses when they have to make those frequent moves.
And especially in a time where we have an all-volunteer armed services, and many of our service members are deployed for extended periods of time. They're away. We have so many moves going on. So that makes a lot of sense, because even if you're a simple thing like a barber or a hairdresser, right, and you're licensed in, say, Virginia, and now you have to go to North Carolina, or you have to go to San Diego, or wherever you happen to be transferred to, you have to go through that application process over, which means time where you're not having a job, money that you have to spend, and things of that nature. So that doesn't make any sense. So you would think that that would be for military spouses reciprocal.
Well, and the thing is, what we want people to understand is, you have a military spouse who deals with the deployments and raising the kids alone and moving and trying to find employment. And if that spouse says, you know what, I'm done, you've been in 8 years, you've been in 10 years, we need to get out, I can't do this anymore, then that affects our military readiness. And so we want to come alongside the spouses because it's the right thing to do, but it's also right for military readiness. It's right for our whole military system. So there are a lot of positives and a lot of good reasons why we need to start coming alongside our spouses. And their unemployment rate is higher than anywhere else. It's in the low 20s. So that just isn't right, because these women and men are they're amazing people. I mean, they're resilient, they're well educated, they're loyal, hardworking. They're just the kind of people that you would want to hire. And so we're excited because a lot of businesses are also starting to realize this, and they're starting to come up with programs where they can hire military spouses, where they can maybe work from home or they can transfer their job from state to state. So there are a lot of great things happening. Military One Source is doing a lot as well. So we're just trying to make sure spouses know there are a lot of resources out there. There is a lot of support for them, and we really, really appreciate them.
I love what you're doing, and I didn't realize that with the great employment numbers that we have, that, as you said, Second Lady Pence, that military spouses unemployment is the highest of any category we have, in the low 20s, where everything else is basically within the transitionary curve of about 3%, which is just people going from job to job. So I appreciate that information. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America. We're with Second Lady Karen Pence today. She's delivering remarks at the Naval Station in Norfolk today to military spouses. She's also going to deliver remarks at Comfort Crew for a military kids event, which we'll find out here in about a minute. But the good news is Karen Pence is coming to Virginia. And as I just predicted earlier, the president and vice president, Mike Pence, they're going to carry Virginia. This is my bold prediction. We're going to win Virginia in 2020. And we're going to turn the corner here. That's why I'm so glad you're here. Second Lady Karen Pence, tell us about your remarks today at Comfort Crew for Military Kids event. That's going to be at about 12:30 p.m. today at the Waterside Hotel in Norfolk.
Well, we're really excited about that. We have partnered with Comfort Crew in the past, and we had congressional spouses help us assemble 500 Comfort Crew kits for kids. And we took those to Colorado, to Fort Carson, when we announced our whole initiative to come alongside military families. But the neat thing about Comfort Crew is they assemble these kits, and they have different categories. And the one today that they're focusing on is the kit for military kids. And they provide support and resources for military families. And at this event, we're actually going to have 25 sailors who are going to be assembling Comfort Crew deployment kits for military children. And these are just wonderful things. They just tell you a little story about one of the things. They have teddy bears in them, and they have a journal. And one little girl shared with the founder of Comfort Crew, and she said, my dad, when he came back, he just wasn't the same. He wasn't my dad. And we, they weren't connecting. And so finally, the little girl took her journal, which is in the Comfort Crew kit, and she'd been keeping record and writing little notes to her dad, and
right.
She took her journal and shared it with him, and that's when he realized, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like that was like broke down the barrier, and then they started, reconnecting after the distance that they'd had, and it was just a really sweet thing to know that these Comfort Crew kits really do have some great things in them for kids who have a parent deployed.
I really appreciate you doing this because it is very difficult for children when their parents are deployed, especially for long periods of time. And being that I live in the number one military area in the United States, many of our friends go through this with their children. So I really appreciate it, Mrs. Pence, that you're doing this. I've got a couple more minutes. I want to talk about the flack that you have taken because you wanted to go back to work and you took a job teaching at a Christian school and you got all kinds of negativity over it, which was odd to me because, of course, you know, what the left wants is for women to be empowered and do what they want, right? That's their big mantra. So were you surprised by the level of vitriol criticism that you got over deciding to go back to teaching at a school of your choice?
Well, it was a surprise. I'll tell you, it's a funny thing for me. This is a school I taught at for 12 years when Mike was in Congress, and so it was a very funny little thing that happened. They called me up and said, "Hey, our art teacher's leaving. Is there any way you could fill in for us?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this would be great." Because it is near and dear to my heart, and it is the thing that I trained for and the thing that I have the most experience in. And it's just a couple days a week. It's part-time. And so for me, you're right, it is a sense of empowerment for women to be able to do what they want. It's really kind of what we're talking about with the military spouses, John, that, you know, we don't just want them to have a job when they go from state to state. We want them to have their career. We want them to feel fulfilled. And I love my role as second lady. It's such a great opportunity for me. But it's nice for me to have a couple days a week where I'm just Mrs. Pence, the art teacher. And so it's really the same thing we're wanting for our military spouses as well.
Well, I love the way that you've handled it, and I'm really happy, many of us, that you were able to stand up to that level of vitriol and criticism and be able to do what you want, because even though you're the second lady of the United States, you still deserve to be able to do the things that you find fulfilling yourself, which is really, as you said, Mrs. Pence, the whole mission that you're on with military spouses and their families. So I really want to thank you for being with us today. Thank you for your time. Second Lady Karen Pence traveling to Virginia today. She'll be in Norfolk today for half the day. She's starting out by delivering remarks to military spouses at the naval station here where we are in Norfolk, and then to the Comfort Crew for Military Kids event at 12:30 p.m. That's at the Norfolk Waterside Hotel. You, my friends, are on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Second Lady Karen Pence, thank you for all you do, and really thank you for being with us today, and thank you for visiting Virginia, where Trump Pence is going to win in 2020.
Thank you, John.